August 5th, 1949, a day that would change lives across Montana.
I never go through this door without thinking of those two laying right there, because they had no idea what was about to happen.
A force of nature leaving smoke jumpers trapped with no way out.
I mean, those are heroes. Those are true to the core heroes.
Their lives lost but not forgotten.
We want to learn as much as we can so we don't have those things happen again.
Prompting change from firefighting techniques to protocols, how crews are making sure a tragedy like the Mann Gulch never happens again. MTN presents Tragedy in the Montana Wilderness, the story of the Mann Gulch fire. Thanks for tuning in to MTN for this special. I'm Tim McGonigal. We recently honored the 13 victims of the Mann Gulch fire, one of the most tragic and significant events in the history of wildfire management. Over the course of the next 30 minutes, we will remember each of those victims and talk with some of their family members. We'll take a closer look at what went wrong that day, from logistics to weather. We'll also talk with the Missoula Smoke Jumpers facility about how they operate. And we'll take you to the Miss Montana plane, the very plane they jumped from on that fateful day. First, let's start with the men who died fighting the fire. 16 men, 15 smoke jumpers, and a fire guardian worked the initial attack on Mann Gulch. 13 would not return home. And over the decades, those who knew these men have said time and time again that they were known for their dedication and bravery in firefighting. This fire had a profound and lasting impact on the victims' families, who no doubt felt a mix of emotions, including grief and a desire for answers and change. Some fought for improved firefighting safety protocols, better training, equipment, and procedures to protect future firefighters. MTN's Marion Davison caught up with some family members to hear firsthand how this tragedy impacted them.
The scars some wildfires leave behind go beyond what you can see on the landscape. The Dietert family knows that well.
I don't want anybody to have an August 5th. The impact on the families is devastating.
Eldon was one of 13 firefighters who died in the Mann Gulch fire on August 5th, 1949. It was his 19th birthday.
He was enthusiastic about everything he was doing.
Although they never met him, Carol, Scott, and Bruce say their Uncle Eldon was a presence in their lives. As children, they visited his grave in Missoula. They knew he died in a fire, but they didn't know much more. It was too painful for their family to talk about. Carol learned the details in Norman McLean's book, Young Men and Fire, and she learned more when cleaning out her grandparents' house after the death of her grandfather.
And on the very back of one of the shelves was a box titled Mann Gulch, and that's where we found all of the mementos of Mann Gulch.
Photos of Eldon and his fellow smoke jumpers, negatives of pictures Eldon shot, letters, notes, newspaper clippings, and items from Eldon's memorial service. Snapshots of a life cut short.
I wish that families would talk about this a little more and history wouldn't be lost between families when tragedy happens.
Eldon's family works to keep his memory alive today. Carol and Scott have walked in his last footsteps. Bruce will join them this year to hike Mann Gulch. And they think of Eldon as fires burn across the West each year.
I always think about the firefighters, keep them in our prayers.
Eldon's memory also lives on in how fires are fought today.
He ended up saving a lot of lives throughout the years because of what was learned at Mann Gulch.
According to the National Wildfire Coordinating Group, the Mann Gulch fire generated interest in the science of fire behavior, which led to the development of the Missoula Fire Sciences Laboratory. The tragedy also influenced the 10 standard firefighting orders, a set of best practices wildland firefighters use to stay safe today. The legacy of 13 lives lost 75 years ago today. In Helena, Marion Davidson, MTN News.
Let me walk you through how it all unfolded. Beginning on August 4th, 1949, there was a lightning storm that ignited a ridge in the Gates of the Mountains wilderness. That fire would smolder all night. It wasn't noticed until the next afternoon. By 12:30 p.m., a smoke jumper crew was called in from Missoula to fight it. At 3:10, the group parachuted into Mann Gulch, landing about a quarter mile from the fire. By 3:50, the crew was geared up and heading towards the fire. Within 10 minutes, the crew noticed the fire has spread significantly, burning roughly 60 acres and moving uphill rapidly. It's now 4:10, and the crew reaches the steep, rough terrain faced with heavy smoke. This is when they realize the fire is moving so quickly, the foreman of the crew ordered them to head towards a ridge to escape the flames. At 4:30, Foreman Wagner Dodge ordered the team to drop all their heavy gear so they could move faster. By 4:45, the fire overtakes the crew. It's been 75 years since the deadly Mann Gulch fire in the Gates of the Mountains wilderness. In early August of 1949, a lightning-sparked wildfire was discovered in Mann Gulch. And when Canyon Ferry Ranger District Manager Bob Jansen first spotted the fire from the air, it was less than 10 acres. By the time it was over, it had burned over 5,000 acres and claimed 13 lives.
This is the investigation.
Dave Turner is a retired National Forest Service employee. He's also a preeminent historian when it comes to the 1949 Mann Gulch fire. He's even written a book about the event called The 13th Fire.
The Mann Gulch fire was the 13th of 57 fires that the men on the Helena National Forest would tackle that summer.
On August 5th, Meriwether Station Guard Jim Harrison, who had left the smoke jumping profession just a year earlier at the request of his mother, discovered the lightning-sparked fire. The early estimate of the fire size was 5 to 8 acres. Because it was burning in rough terrain, the Forest Service requested 25 smoke jumpers from Missoula.
Many were college students who were doing this work for their summer.
Because of other fires, the smoke jumpers base was able to send 16. One backed out after getting sick on the flight. The crew included Supervisor Wagner Wag Dodge, a nearly 10-year smoke-jumping veteran. Dodge assessed the fire as too aggressive to attack head-on. He instructed the crew to go down the river and begin building a fire line. When Dodge came up on a ridge, Turner says he was likely shocked at what he saw.
He sees that the fire has kicked firebrands off the fire on the ridge, and they've landed in the bottom of the gulch where there's a lot of grass, a lot of brush, and that's on fire.
The fire was directly below. Dodge ordered the crew to head back uphill to a ridgetop, but the scree slopes they had to cross were treacherous.
Rocks in there are the size of Volkswagens down to bricks, and there's no trails whatsoever.
No longer in a line, Dodge asked Bill Hellman, his second in command, to order the crew to drop their heavy equipment in hopes of moving quicker against the rapidly advancing flames. Then, Dodge did something unconventional.
And without a word to anyone, he leans down and with a book of paper matches starts tossing matches into the grass.
He lit what is, by many accounts, considered the first escape fire in firefighting history.
He unsuccessfully encouraged others to join him in the escape fire.
The guys who are nearest to him think, this guy's nuts.
We don't know if they simply didn't hear, they didn't understand what he was doing because that wasn't part of their training at that point in time.
It was a technique employed by Native Americans years earlier. Two men, Bob Selly and Walt Rumsey, were able to stay ahead of the fire and scramble to safety. Bill Hellman also made it to the ridge, but got caught from behind by the fire.
And while he's burned over 80% of his body, he still managed to struggle another 200 yards down that slope in Rescue Gulch before he collapses.
Hellman and another badly burned firefighter, Joe Sylvia, would eventually be carried to safety. Despite optimism, Hellman and Sylvia would later die at St. John's Hospital in Helena. The fire burned until August 10th. Turner says a search for the other 11 firefighters commenced August 6th.
It isn't until Sunday, the 7th, that they recover the last body, which was so badly burned, the only thing that was left were the large leg bones.
Lessons learned from the Mann Gulch fire helped shape the firefighting strategies of today. And even though it happened 75 years ago, it serves as a reminder to never forget the 13 who died. The Miss Montana plane has become an iconic symbol of the bravery and sacrifices of the smoke jumpers involved in the Mann Gulch fire. The plane was used to transport rescue crews, supplies, and equipment to the area. It was restored by the Museum of Mountain Flying in Missoula. MTN's Derek Joseph has more on its legacy.
One of the jumpers was the foreman, Wag Dodge, and Earl Cooley, one of the earliest smoke jumpers, and Wag Dodge were laying on their bellies, looking out this door as the plane circled over the fire at Mann Gulch, trying to figure out the best drop spot and where to actually go out. And I never go through this door without thinking of those two laying right there, because they had no idea what was about to happen.
75 years ago, Miss Montana flew a 16-man crew of smoke jumpers into the Mann Gulch fire. Although Miss Montana's role in the Mann Gulch fire has a tragic ending, at the time it was the best plane for the job. Brian Douglas has flown and worked on Miss Montana for years, and he explained the mechanics of what makes this plane the ideal machine to help fight wildfires.
It was fast, it would carry everything you could put in it, it could land short and go into some of these backcountry strips, and of course you could jump out of it. And so it was perfect for that, and it's still being used for a lot of that stuff today.
Douglas also says Miss Montana has stayed flying for 80 years thanks to volunteer maintenance and donations from people across the state.
Well, it's pretty remarkable that this airplane dropped those jumpers in 1949 and it's still around, much less flying. We took her across the Atlantic in 2019 and back. I mean, she has lasted, and I think other than the crosses on the ground in Mann Gulch, she's the last physical connection to the events of that day.
In Missoula, Derek Joseph, MTN News.
In Missoula is the smoke jumper base, one of the primary facilities for training and deploying smoke jumpers all across the United States. As MTN's Emily Brown explains, the base is known for its rigorous training programs.
75 years ago, smoke jumpers jumped out of a plane just like this into the Mann Gulch fire. 12 smoke jumpers and one former smoke jumper perished in that fire. I checked in with the Missoula smoke jumpers to see how they're taking lessons from the past into their work today.
When your parachute safely opens, you know you're going to live. It's just quiet, there's a light breeze, and you're looking out over, the most beautiful country.
Smoke jumpers, a unique necessity here in the West.
I actually often say that I was raised for this job, or fire in general.
Specially trained, elite firefighters drop themselves out of airplanes to battle blazes in remote locations.
A person will be sitting in the door with their legs hanging out and kind of underneath the door. And then there's a spotter, a person on board that doesn't jump, looking out the door, kind of figuring out just exactly where they're going to be released out over the jump spot. Spotter goes through some throwing streamers and figures out wind drift and where they want to release the jumper. They'll yell, "Get ready."
Getting crews to a fire in the air brings them key information before boots hit the ground.
The advantage of showing up over fire by air is you can see where the fire sits, you can see the activity on it.
Since they are often isolated from other resources, smoke jumpers have to rely on only the gear with them and their wits. In August of 1949, when the smoke jumpers of the Mann Gulch fire were trapped, Foreman Wag Dodge started a backburn fire in an effort to protect himself and others. Although only he stayed in the black. It was something that had never been done before, and ultimately changed how crews now fight wildfires.
We do a lot of backburning on fires. Essentially, you rob the fire of what it needs to burn. So now, part of our training, because of what happened at Mann Gulch and in other situations, is if you have fire coming at you and you can reasonably make a safety zone in a flashy fuel, by all means set that on fire and go into that, and that will protect you from the flames that are coming at you.
Through remembering the sacrifice and stepping out to take new risks, teams are bonded together.
The fire in front of you and the guys beside you. It's camaraderie, it's having guys that you trust around you, and it's having a mission that you're going to push forward and do what you need to do to get the job done.
In Missoula, Emily Brown, MTN News.
Weather conditions played a key role in creating such a dangerous fire environment that fateful day. From the embers of Mann Gulch, scientists are continuing to learn more about the behavior to better manage wildfire and protect those fighting them. Stay with us. Welcome back. Following the tragic events of Mann Gulch, the federal government invested significant resources into better understanding what happened that fateful day and what could have been done differently. But as investigators would discover, it was a stacked deck against the men from the beginning. It was hot, humidity was low, and winds were strong, the perfect storm for fire conditions. MTN meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz walks us through the weather that day.
Montana might not have a remembrance of the Mann Gulch fire if it was not for the weather leading up to that day, setting the conditions for extreme fire behavior. The weather had an effect on the Mann Gulch fire from months before to the moment firefighters took their last breaths. On August 4th, 1949, lightning sparked numerous wildfires on the Helena National Forest. Much of the western United States was sweltering under a record-setting heat wave on top of several months of drought. On August 5th, 1949, a group of smoke jumpers left Missoula to fight one of the new wildfires along the Missouri River, the last fire most of this group would ever fight. Weather conditions battled these men right from the get-go, as wind on the flight over was turbulent. One smoke jumper got sick on the flight and did not jump, returning with the plane to Missoula. The firefighters noted cumulonimbus clouds developing as they flew, which are a sign of atmospheric instability. Upon jumping out of the plane, wind scattered the men and their equipment farther apart than expected. There were no official weather observations or recordings of the conditions that day in Mann Gulch, but it was hot, dry, and windy throughout the area. That afternoon in Helena, the high was 97 degrees, wind gusted up to 32 miles per hour, and the humidity fell to 16%. Red flag warning conditions. A strong south wind created turbulent conditions near the mouth of the canyon of Mann Gulch, and fire spotting and fire whirls ignited new fires that cut off the firefighters' escape to the safety of the Missouri River. At this point, the fire blew up in the peak afternoon heating and wind. At that time, the Haynes Index that's used to estimate potential fire growth was at the top of the charts. Conditions that high only happen on 2% of August days, making the situation extreme and rare. It is estimated that the intense flames covered nearly 3,000 acres in only 10 minutes, a race that 13 firefighters could not win. Ultimately, it took 450 men fighting the Mann Gulch fire for 5 more days to get the blaze under control. It was a tragic and fateful day and a reminder of the harsh conditions these brave souls and every firefighter can face while protecting our lives and property.
The Missoula Fire Sciences Laboratory is a part of the Rocky Mountain Research Station. They conduct research to better understand fire behavior, its effects, ecology, and management. And the lab plays a critical role in enhancing fire management strategies and improving the safety and effectiveness of firefighting efforts. MTN's Zach Volheim met with members of the lab for a closer look at their work.
The U.S. Forestry Fire Sciences Laboratory in Missoula was created shortly after the Mann Gulch incident to try and better understand why such incidents occur. Their goal was to try to better understand fire behavior and ensure that incidents like Mann Gulch didn't happen again.
So we have these experiments that we can do inside. We translate that work to bigger experiments outside, or experiments on prescribed fires, or we study existing wildfires, all with the intent of trying to better understand fire behavior. It's great to work in here where we can really standardize conditions. You can't do that in nature, obviously, so you just got to take what you get outside.
But beyond the experiments, the Fire Sciences Lab has a greater mission.
And our mission is managing and protecting our public lands that the Forest Service manages, but also that all of our interagency partners manage as well, and then making sure that those are provided for our children and their children's children. The research that's been done here and the tools that are created here really have a direct reach into that community. So people know them and they're using them every day. And it's not something that's just purely for academic purposes, something that's created and the paper's published about it. It's really about the connection that we have as Forest Service research, and that connection to people in the field, or people at a district who are making decisions about how we respond to fire, or people on a fire deciding how they're going to engage that fire. We're helping people be more aware of conditions, and we've learned from these past events in terms of the common factors or common denominators that lead to firefighter entrapments.
Some of the tools that the lab has created you are certainly familiar with. The fire danger sign, like this one, those came out of that lab. All of these tools stem from Mann Gulch, however, as it was the flashpoint to try and better understand fire behavior and how to keep firefighters safe.
We want to learn as much as we can so we don't have those things happen again.
Our coverage isn't over yet. When we come back, we'll take you to the 75th honorary event at the state capitol, dedicated to the Fire Guard and 12 smoke jumpers who lost their lives. Stay with us. Welcome back. The events at Mann Gulch in 1949 have cast a long shadow, and for the 75th anniversary, federal, state, and local leaders partnered to ensure the firefighters were honored and their family and bravery remembered. MTN's Tom Wiley was at the Montana State Capitol for the 75th anniversary ceremony.
There are 13 wreaths adorning the steps of the Montana State Capitol, and each of these wreaths represents one of the brave souls and one of the firefighters who lost their lives fighting the Mann Gulch fire 75 years ago, when on Monday night here at the Capitol building, the U.S. Forest Service held a ceremony to honor these men and make sure their stories and sacrifices are never lost to the pages of history. The event started with a flyover from the Miss Montana C-47. That's the very same plane that dropped the smoke jumpers into the Mann Gulch fire in 1949. A recurring theme from the speakers was how the Mann Gulch incident has impacted the fire community over the last 75 years. 13 men tragically died, but their sacrifice has made sure thousands of others lived.
We've dedicated ourselves to fire research and the science behind fire behavior. Mann Gulch spurred important lessons that ring true today on every fire line in the nation.
And though their legacy is felt in the firefighting community, there are stories behind each of the 13 men who perished. They had families, histories, personalities, and it's important to preserve the memory of the people who lived, not just the event that claimed their lives. And that's where historians like keynote speaker John McClain have taken up the cause.
Importantly, the lives and personalities of the men who died in Mann Gulch have been recovered thanks to research by many people and the cooperation of friends and families.
The 13 men died in Montana, but they were laid to rest all around the country. And this year, for the first time ever, the National Smoke Jumpers Association held a ceremony at each gravesite.
We have 13 sites, 6 are in Montana, but 7 are in other states, 2 in California, and the other 5 are in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, New York, and Tennessee. So this was more than a Montana event. It resonated all over the country.
The Mann Gulch tragedy was a transformative event, but 75 years later, the impact still resonates, thanks to 13 lives that transcend the past, the present, and the future.
Mann Gulch has not faded into obscurity, but has risen from the ashes to become a cultural legacy for the wildland fire community, Montana, and the nation.
13 crosses high above the cold Missouri shore.
Tom Wiley, MTN News.
Mann Gulch serves as a testament of what it means to live with wildfire. It's a harsh reminder of what fire is capable of and what it can take away, of the courage and sacrifice all wildland firefighters face when running towards fire to protect people, property, and our wild areas, of the lessons learned and the commitment we continue to make into managing wildfire, and how after tragedy, regrowth is always possible.